We're with Dr. Ricardo Salvador, Director of the Food and Environment Program at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Is the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, is it doing a good job supporting small and minority farmers, and has that changed in recent decades?
Yeah, I think the current administration is doing a good job of turning the current. That means changing the culture of the department, which, to your question, historically had not been very good serving minority farmers and actually serving farmers that operated at small scale of any sort. So yes, I see all kinds of good signs, including programs, including the way that personnel at agencies have been trained and prepared to deal with this different clientele. So yes, the signs are looking very good. You can go to their website and see that they really specialize in trying to reach these farmers. They have really good tools to help new farmers get started. So I hope that that trend continues.
Okay, and I want to ask about food policy. What policies does the USDA support that actually encourage unhealthy diets? And what kind of research has the UCS done on that?
Right. Well, the major one is that the primary emphasis of almost everything that the department does is to support large-scale production, and particularly the production of commodities. Now, per your prior question, some of these things are beginning to change, but the lion's share of the investment that the department makes is to support the ingredients of the junk food diet. And so it isn't contributed to health. It creates all kinds of distortions, such as the food that is least healthy for us is the most affordable in the market. And that's not a market result, because the food that is more healthful for us actually can be produced at lower cost, actually requires less processing, and requires less packaging. And so by market dynamics, it actually should cost less. So it's a complete distortion of the market, a result of policy that that's not the case.
Okay, now you say, kind of teeing off of that, you say the UCS says that the good news is we know how to fix our food system. I know that's fairly complicated. There's a complicated answer behind that, but in simplified terms of it, what do we know that would let us fix our food system?
Well, this cuts across several different dimensions. I think that the first thing is to start out with the objective of supporting, at least with public dollars, a supply of food that is healthful, that will result in well-being. And secondly, there is a business and an environmental angle to this. If we actually conditioned our policies to support the livelihood of farmers and provided them incentives to generate healthful food and to protect the environment, that would be different from what we do right now, where we incentivize them for all-out production of commodities. Then we expect them to be altruists for the things that we ask for them anyway, but we don't pay them for: clean water, clean air, protecting soil. So I think that we know enough in terms of agricultural practices that are actually regenerative, that keep nutrients on the land, that protect soil, that buffer against the loss of nutrients into water, that if we just adopted those systems and paid farmers for adopting those systems, that would be a dramatic transformation.
Okay, and finally, Monsanto is obviously in the news a lot. Fortune magazine recently called it the world's most vilified company.
Yeah.
Is that justified? And in your opinion, what are they doing that at least causes them to be so vilified?
Yeah. It's a complicated question, but here's the simplest way to think about it. They certainly have made it easy on occasion to be vilified, particularly with certain practices, such as, for instance, suing farmers and really creating this kind of a police state environment in terms of protecting their seeds. But I think they really have been demonized. I think that a company could do many things differently, and the knowledge and the global infrastructure that they have could actually be turned to completely different purposes than they have at the moment. I actually think, I know that they're trying to come up with different models. It is not a good thing for them that whenever anyone reaches for the worst example of the excesses of industrial agriculture, everybody thinks of them and uses their name. So they're trying really hard to get out of that mold, and they're in various conversations with people for suggestions about how they might do that. But in terms of their reality right now, with their pushing of very expensive technologies that essentially make farmers dependent on them, particularly in very narrow technology markets, essentially those that provide the greatest size of market and the greatest revenue source for Monsanto, they really have tended to turn farmers into serfs, and farmers resent that. And so while I don't think that they deserve the depth of the negative reputation that they have, I can understand why they've been painted that way. And I think they have a better future ahead of them if they would just follow, completely different objectives.
Okay, I think that's all I need. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.